My worker cooperative is Sunset Scholars LLC. We're a tutoring cooperative based in Sunset Park, Brooklyn.
I'm part of Wholehearted Bookkeeping Cooperative. I'm also part of the Oasis Solidarity Collective. We do trainings and accompaniment for people trying to like start co-ops or grow their co-ops or deepen their co-ops.
Let's talk about small acts, cooperative law.
Awesome. And so, where are you from?
Madison, Wisconsin.
And what's your role in Small Acts?
I practice the law, I teach about the law, and help run the co-op.
I am at the conference in two capacities. One is as a worker owner for South Shore Bicycle Works, which is a bicycle co-op, worker owner co-op. And the other is I am a bookkeeper and am launching a bookkeeping business focusing on worker co-ops.
The worker co-op I'm a founding member of is called Breadfruit, and we are a woodworking cooperative interested in re-indigenizing working class Black and brown people's relationships with craft.
I am a worker owner at the Ajani Group Worker Co-op. I'm also a loan officer at Shared Capital, and I've been a worker owner at Equal Exchange in the past, and a co-op organizer, educator, researcher type. So yeah, just like I'll kind of bring that background to my work.
You think about Cooperation Milwaukee, I mean, we're cooperatively run. It's not a worker-owned cooperative. It's more of a, what do you call it, cooperative federation of sorts.
Sure, Co-op Milwaukee.
And what Commonplace is and is trying to do is to make it easier for local people to organize for the common good. And so I think it's very important that we at Commonplace are organizers and are not selling software as a service to organizers, or God forbid, following Facebook's model and making a free product that organizers use to connect with their communities that's totally funded by like advertiser revenue.
What's your role at Worker Justice Wisconsin?
My title is co-ops organizer. So incubation, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I prefer the title organizer.
Nice. And you said that you're part of a worker union as well?
Yeah, so we're a worker center, and we have our own union for our staff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're part of OPIU Local 39.
And you're with
Chi Commons.
All right. So Barry, I know you live here in Chicago, but where are you from? Is there anything deeper to talk about?
I live in Rogers Park. I took the red line and the green line to get here today.
All right. And what's your role in the co-op?
I'm a worker owner in Chi Commons.
Nice. What are you seeking to get out of this conference?
I think the main thing that I came here for is just to educate myself on like ways of funding or any sort of like alternative business models that are being introduced, or like what other people are doing in different states. Because I think I'm not the only one. I'm probably not the only one that has the co-op model that, was running, maybe had like a little bump, failed, took a break, something along those lines. I'm pretty sure like it's not the only one in New York. I'm pretty sure it's not the only one in the US. So what I came here for is just to kind of network and see like, what else is out there, or what are the possibilities that I'm looking at right now.
So coming to the conference is a big commitment. What were you seeking from the conference?
Well, like I always say, this is like my favorite conference because it feels a little bit like a family reunion. Like I get to see all these people in the movement who I've known for years and like catch up with them and just like enjoy being together. Also this year Wholehearted was able to send 4 people, and for us, we're remote. We're like all over the country. So this is like only the second time we've all been together in 4 years. And that was really amazing. And I think, just seeking like, examples and like learnings from other co-ops and, a lot of good stuff kind of germinating.
Coming here is a big commitment. What are you seeking here?
Largely community of practice. There are some questions I have that I can only get answers to here. There are some conversations I can only have with people that have a certain amount of knowledge about co-ops, that have a certain amount of practical experience working with co-ops. And it's nice to be around a lot of those people at once. There's some disagreements I can only have here, and that really fosters a lot of growth. So I'm excited about that.
Why did you come to the conference?
I came to the conference first and foremost to network as a bookkeeper because I am not like, I know how to do bookkeeping. I have not run my own bookkeeping freelance business. And so I wanted to meet other people that were financial professionals around co-ops to start conversations with them about community of practice. 80% of bookkeeping is the same thing every time, and then there's 20% where that's questions that make your brain bend, and it's really great to talk to other people who have also dealt with exactly the same or similar questions to talk through. So to literally meet people face to face who are not always in Chicago, and start building that community of practice, but then also starting out a useful source of getting clients is referrals from someone else who can not just be like, oh, here's this person that can do it, but then also is pointing clients at me so that the client has a positive experience also. Not necessarily like, oh, here's just this thing and then I don't have a whole lot of experience and everybody's miserable, versus, oh, they just need their book set up. It's a very basic sort of thing. That person, the other bookkeeper, full up on clients, doesn't have the capacity to do it, but it's a very straightforward routine thing, and here you go, pass them on and everybody can have a positive experience.
Coming here is a big commitment. What are you seeking to get from the conference, or what were you seeking?
What I was seeking to get from the conference really was just learning what other cooperators are doing around the country, but primarily meeting other Black cooperators. And I think that was a success. This is my second conference, and it feels like a much Blacker space since then, which I very much appreciate. And having conversations around what does cooperation look like in the context of our historical perspective and our varying historical perspectives as Africans in the U.S. And that was exciting, particularly with regard to discussing class and our relationship to anti-imperialism. So I suppose, not consciously, but that's what I was looking for, and I found it.
What were you seeking at the conference?
Formally, I went through my work with Shared Capital, which is like a big blessing. I know because I've been going to these conferences. The Eastern Coordinate, my first would probably be the Eastern Conference for Workplace Democracy in 2009, and then the next year I went to the national conference in San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley. Um, so I've been going for a while, and um, I think it's like really powerful to be part of this community and movement, and to watch it grow and shift and be dynamic and have fresh insights and you know see how it's whether like how are we being rooted in our history and yet still move forward in a thoughtful way. um, and so when it comes down to it, I think it's part of being both a movement for this broader vision we all have of creating a better world, and also part of a community for myself personally. I say to folks, it feels a little like a family reunion sometimes, you know, because I see people there that I see like once a year, once every few years, and um, we've all gotten to watch each other move along these paths. And it kind of dawned on me this last May that, you know, I may be working with a lot of these folks maybe for the rest of our lives, potentially. Like, we're all really invested in this. And, like, we only have one life, so it's very special to be able to decide that you want to be part of this movement, and creating something together. So for me, that's where it's at. And then also to learn what matters to people, learn what's going on, how I can fit in, how I can listen, how I can like be my little puzzle piece to the best of my ability, whether that's with my lender hat on or educator hat or just being a friend. Sometimes it's just like talking with people and like I know some of the folks there are that for me, so I appreciate that. And yeah.
What are you seeking at this conference?
At this conference, seeking connections to other cooperators in community here and checking out some of the cool conversations that are happening. So our friend Esther moved up recently to Milwaukee, which is awesome, and is also a member of Cooperation Milwaukee. She's going to be speaking at 2:30, so pretty excited about that.
What are you seeking at this conference?
I want to meet people. I want to know what's going on. There goes the train. Choo choo. Yeah, I want to meet people. I want to learn about what else is out there that is like who's out there that's trying to do the stuff that we're trying to do, and how can we work together more, or how can we learn from what you've already done. There's plenty of things that I think are trying to do something very similar to what we're trying to do, but maybe for a different community, or with a slightly different like approach. And this is just a really cool opportunity to get to put a lot of faces to names, or find out about projects that like, oh, you've like been through what we're going through right now, or been through something that we're gonna have to go through. And I'm just interested in like learning more than anything, I guess.
What were you seeking at the conference?
I was looking to connect with other developers, incubators that worked with undocumented workers, workers that are usually left out of unions, that are usually left out of conversations like this. And I did get to meet a lot of them, and I did get to connect um, with some folks that work with undocumented workers and the challenges that come with family owned co-ops and immigrant owned co-ops.
Coming to the conference is a big commitment. What are you seeking out of the conference?
Connection.
Connection.
And to meet people, find out what they're doing and how Tri Commons might be able to help, and how people might be able to help us, other co-ops.
Sweet. Is this your first worker co-op conference?
No, I've been to another one that was in New York and NYC back in I want to say 2018 or something. It was before the pandemic.
Yeah, y'all existed before. What helped y'all the most at that time?
So I think what kept the cooperative model working was the fact that we had a very rooted to the neighborhood approach. We kept our services at a fairly low cost for the community, and we also worked with other cooperatives that were also incubated in the community as well. So it wasn't just us. There was other co-ops. There was well, they still exist. There's a dog walking cooperative around the same area. There's an elder care co-op around the same area. My mom is actually part of one of the other co-ops that's around there that specifies in childcare. So cooperation among cooperatives is one of the main things, one of the principles of cooperatives that I think benefited us a lot, because it wasn't just working with what we had in the community, but also working with everybody else that was in that ecosystem.
Outside of the conference, what has helped your co-ops the most?
Just generally, what's helped our co-ops the most? So thinking about Wholehearted, definitely when we were starting, we had sort of these I would almost say guardian angels who got us our first clients, or just helped us get early clients, and it was people from the co-op movement, or at least some of them. Specifically Steven Switzer really helped us out, and yeah, that I think that really made a big difference. We've also had a couple of like big nonprofits that are in the co-op space, like specifically the Sustainable Economy Law Center and Cooperación Santa Ana, who have become sort of anchor clients for us, where they really like, we give them a lot of hours, and that enables us to also work with like smaller co-ops and startups and people who can't pay as much. So like, yeah, just like these connections and like solidarity within the co-op movement. And I see like those clients really valuing our experience as a co-op as something that they want to be like connected with. And then in terms of like capital, we started off with like some loans from friends and family, which was good. And then we were also able to access financing from Leaf, which we just like paid back. And it's really exciting to say like we've now done 2 full cycles of financing. And yeah, though that's been super critical.
What has helped small acts the most?
I think we're small. We have very deep relationships with each other and also to the community that we serve. So together, between the 3 of us, I think we have like almost 80 years of continuous experience in the community that we serve. And also having, personally been a member of the co-op space for about a decade, there's a lot of relationships that we pull on that have been extremely helpful in helping us grow, and even to know where the resources around us are, so we know where to ask for help, and that's been really helpful.
So far, what has helped your co-op efforts the most?
What has been most helpful for cooperative efforts, I think, is learning about how people do co-ops. I grew up being aware of food co-ops. I had an experience with housing co-ops that was not particularly good, but it was being around people like my interviewer who, helped me learn more about the potential for cooperatives as a transformative solution to structural situations that are just grinding up many of us. The conference setting is a little bit unusual for me. I'm not used to having this many people in one space, but it's been really great to have access to all of the different things that people are doing, just as an educational process.
What has helped your co-op the most?
What's helped my co-op the most is actually knick-knack, like being able to access technical assistance, being able to access grants through our network, through the entire cooperative network throughout the U.S. That has been being built. That's been what's really keeping us afloat. Other co-ops, like other cooperatives, other cooperative developers. I'd say something that's keeping me personally afloat while trying to rebuild this co-op is seeing people's interest in alternative economic models that have no idea about co-ops. That warms my heart.
What has helped Ajani and Shared Capital the most? And you can answer just for one if you want.
With shared capital, I think that it helps that we're a member co-op so that we're responsive to our borrowers, the borrower co-ops, and that makes us more effective if we're listening to people and work with them, right? If we're like being receptive. It's a very relational process, lending process compared to a bank or something like that. So I think that our model, the co-op model itself, is really helpful. And then with Ajani, I think communication and honesty and vulnerability and love for the work we do together is what really is has helped us the most. So the people of Ajani, um, we can find money or maybe we can find money or grants or something, but when it comes down to it, it's this really special group of people with diverse skill sets, but the same mission and passion. So I'd say our members, our worker owners in that case.
What has helped your co-op the most
From this conference.
in general? The federation, yeah.
Yeah, so we're currently we're not a U.S. Federation Worker Cooperative member yet, but we are talking about that. We are in the New Economy Coalition, and I guess in terms of what's I think the resources and infrastructure, dialogue and communication around decision making and sort of like resource aggregation and like how to make that more more available to like a broader community.
What has helped Commonplace the most?
Okay, what commonplace is and who it is and what we're trying to do has like changed over time, right? It's evolved a lot. Now we have 8 people on the team, including me. A lot of that growth has been in the last 6 months. So that's new, and that's a very different thing than what commonplace was when we first came up with that name 2.5 years ago. But yeah, the one continuity, the one thing that's always helped is just like getting out of our heads, getting out of theory, getting out of like just like researching and writing in a little document and then being like, oh, is that perfect? Like you gotta just share and say, get people's input, or not even worry about that and just be like, okay, who am I trying to help by building a co-op? Like what needs are we looking to address? And how can we as people working on this pitch in there? And also how can we get those needs addressed ourselves and like find out what systems already exist? It's this like constant rolling dynamic social process.
A lot of staff, like union staff, are often with OPEIU.
Okay, cool. And how has the union helped you out?
So I think personally for me, well, it came with a raise. So it's brought us closer to the average for organizers in our area and also in the local. So our pay gap is closing. Um, but for me, the biggest improvement was the job security. Because for nonprofits, it can be really like 1 year you run out of money and like there goes your job. Um, but we have something codified now in our contract that we are able to get where if we do run into a major deficit that we cannot make up by the end of the year, the highest paid person takes a pay cut, and then the person after, and then we go like that. Everybody takes a pay cut in order to save that person's job. Um, and then if there are layoffs, if it go after pay cuts, then we cut out like as many non-essential things from our budget as we can. And if that's still not enough, then we go in reverse order of seniority for layoffs. And so that has been really good for me because there's not a lot of funding specifically for co-op incubation, like specific to that. And so my job always felt a little bit like it could go away anytime now. So now it is like, okay, like it could still happen, but we'll do everything we can to keep the staff that we currently have.
What has been the best or most useful part of the conference so far?
Well, the conference is just starting, and we had our Chicago pre-conference meeting just ending. And well, it's great to meet people. And we had a little mini unconference. And so as part of this group with Sharon and Marquette of Success and some other people. And we talked about the importance of listening and how that connected with accountability and success and presence.
You said unconference, UN conference, right?
Yes.
Okay. I did see that, I think, in the programming. I wanted to know what that was about.
Yeah, I can't tell you that much about it, but it's an unconference is a way of spontaneously organizing a series of workshops.
What was something unexpected that helped y'all at that time?
But I wasn't expecting for people to like put so much support into it, you know? Like I was under the idea that we were just gonna like, do like low key tutoring services or like just like network around like with other cooperatives. But like community churches or like churches around the area, like around the neighborhood, also started being like very supportive. They started reaching out to us like, hey, um, there's a mother looking for like tutoring help for their kid because they're struggling in school. Like, can you help them? And they were kind enough to also like let us borrow their space to provide like those services to them. So that was, I think that's probably kind of like unexpected because I wasn't really like I wasn't expecting for the churches to kind of like be on board with all of this and just kind of like bring all of that together.
Awesome. So where did y'all go to locally for assistance, or where are you going now locally for assistance?
I'm sticking with the New York City network of worker co-ops, so NICNOC. That's been like that's been one of our biggest support systems from the beginning. I've known them for a while. We've networked with them for a while, and I don't think it's just for me. I think a lot of the co-ops in New York City feel the same way. They're able to, give out or just connect us to like different resources or like at least try to point us the right way. Obviously, like there's little things here and there that, still need some work. Whether it's like connecting more folks into the space or just like more programming, but in general, I think they've been like a huge help.
What's something unexpected that's helped your co-ops in general?
In general, I can say with Oasis, like one of the things that's been really a big part of like our history was that we had this internal conflict that had to do with people's, other kind of co-op affiliations and things that had happened outside the collective, but that were like really affecting the collective. And it was this conflict that was deep and painful, and it went on for like I think about 2 years. Like it was really, really rough. And then we were finally able to get connected with a mediator who like actually was able to kind of get in and like get people communicating and dialoguing, and that was called the Stoke Collective. And yeah, that it's been such a game changer. And again, I want to give credit to like Tammy Shapiro, who was at NICNOC then, who, kept trying, like, when the first mediator didn't work out, like trying to find another one. And to the members who were involved, like who were able to like kind of push through and keep working on it. So I would say it was sort of unexpected that conflict was able to transform. And I feel like it created this really strong foundation for us now. The other thing, that has, and it's been sad because it's like we've been through all of this transformation and transitions, and now, right, we have this client who's had a lot of cash flow issues and basically hasn't been able to pay us for like 2 years. And it's at the, right now we're at risk of like members are like going on leave because like we can't pay ourselves. And it's really sad to me that basically this one government contract that's like not working out is like, potentially shutting down something that's been really strong.
What's something unexpected that's helped your co-op?
I would say there's a local bank that was incredibly helpful. We started out banking with a credit union, in line with our values and all of that, but they couldn't offer some of the account types that we needed and didn't have any credit availability for us, and there's a really big cash flow lag in the law. So we were looking for a line of credit, and there was this small bank, local. It wasn't a credit union or anything, but they were excited about our mission and what we did. They looked us in the eyes and treated us with respect, and they have been very supportive in terms of helping us increase our financial acumen, and working with us in a way that does reflect our values. And so I think that was really unexpected for me, but very helpful.
What's something unexpected that's helped your co-op efforts?
I guess the extent to which being involved in cooperatives is not about running worker cooperatives is not just about running a business. but the cooperative principles are a um, countercultural movement in the US, so appreciating the extent to which you have to move beyond, it's not just can you run your business, because I feel like both with the bike co-op and my sense is with the bookkeeping work is that finding clients, getting cash flow going is not the big challenge. The big challenge is these cooperative principles that are not what we're taught about very much.
What's something unexpected that's helped your co-op?
I'd say something that's unexpectedly helped my co-op the most is how those of us who are interested in building this thing together have just shown up for one another with a lot of grace and care, and been really flexible with ensuring that we're all living our lives as balanced as we can, considering what we need to build and considering what we have to uphold to be able to build the things we need to build. So like our jobs and other commitments that may exhaust us. So really just like holding space.
What's something unexpected that's helped Ajani or Shared Capital?
Well, it was really nice to get a grant from CDF one year for Jani to do some educational work, and we did like climate justice materials. Like I worked on a climate action plan toolkit kind of thing, where co-ops can like fill out a co-op climate action plan and see examples, um, go through the workshop we have online, the presentation. So that was pretty exciting. It's like really special to get to see those ideas come to life. And so I appreciate CDF doing that.
What's something unexpected that's helped your co-op or the federation?
Yeah, cooperation Milwaukee. I think an influx of new members has been over the last year and a half, 2 years, like dedicated cooperators and organizers who are really excited and dedicated to sort of cooperation and sort of a new alternative world that we're trying to all build together. So that's been really great and helpful too, because for a while it was just more of a smaller group of people taking on a lot of that labor, and this is like really awesome to see. So,
What's something unexpected that's helped your effort?
I'm going to give a personal answer. My mom is has been getting her own like residential landscaping company off the ground for the last few years. And ever since I moved back to Rhode Island, I've been doing some jobs with her, and then as I've kind of gotten the hang of that, I've been doing some jobs with clients of my own where it's just a me thing. Do a lot of odd jobs. It's not only landscaping, but I do more landscaping than anything else. That really is a stretch in the other direction. Just getting out there in the sun and digging around in the dirt and thinking about what plants should go where and what plants are here right now and how did they get here and what implications do they have for the ecosystem and the habitat, what's up with the bugs, what are they doing, what's native and non-native, the water flowing, and having to ask those questions and think about the interests of non-human things, this wordless work where you're just digging around in the muck and sweating and taking in the sun, that has been hugely helpful in both my staying, I think, like healthy and sane, and not just thinking about governance and business models and product roadmaps and stuff all of the time, getting a break from that, getting a break from the computer, and also grounding, like spiritually grounding in some ways what it's all about for me, which is beauty of life in the world or something, like there's a bigger thing going on here and you can get lost in the weeds. And it's been very, very helpful. And I think this is an unexpectedly helpful thing. It's been very helpful to, be pre-revenue and need to do odd jobs and like go out there with a shovel and engage with the world on those terms.
Is there anything that's gone on in the co-op that you're proud of or excited by?
I'm proud of just making the co-op. Like I'm proud of being a business owner. Like that I once the business started operating, I was a little bit in disbelief and this happened when I was like 17, 18 years old where the business was made and I was like, damn, I'm not just working here. Like I also own part of the business. That's like empowering because you kind of feel like shit. Like if I can do this, like I can do anything else. And you feel like included. You feel like you're a part of something. You feel like you could do more past that. So
Is there anything going on in Small Axe that you're proud or excited by?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. But I think in our second year, we've really started to focus on the educational side of our programming. And like personally, that's a big part of what calls me to the work and the stuff I'm most excited about. Um, so like legal cafes where we'll do a workshop, a presentation, and then bring in some lawyers to volunteer their time to answer a few questions. Um, Even we did a legal name change workshop, helped a bunch of folks force the government to acknowledge their identity. And I'm excited that these kinds of ideas keep coming in from our community and seeing the space come alive with people, seeing people start to work with the law as something that's supposed to serve them, that does a lot of healing for me personally. So I think the workshops and educational opportunities are something I'm really excited about.
Is there anything going on in your efforts that you're proud of or excited for?
South Shore Bicycle Works. One of the and I've learned at this conference is that people have been very impressed how rapidly we went from we have an idea to we have a brick and mortar space where we can actually be wrenching on bikes, and that was encouraging because this stuff is hard. This work is hard, and we didn't really have a sense of are we taking forever to do things. It took us 2 months to open a bank account, so we have some things where we're like feeling not particularly competent. Never occurred to any of us it would take 2 months to open a bank account. But so then it's interesting to hear oh, you in 18 months, it took you only 18 months to get into a brick and mortar space, is also encouraging. So you can look around, see where you're standing and what you're doing well at, and also, what you need to learn.
Is there anything going on in your co-op that's something you're proud of or that you're excited about?
Yeah, the study group, which is all that's going on, but super proud of it and super excited about it because it's not as something I've experienced in other circles with my grassroots organizing background. When it comes to political education, it's not a space that's filled with people who already know the topic. It's like all, aside from maybe myself and one other person, and I'm still pretty new, all people who are not familiar with cooperative economics at all. And I'm incredibly proud of that. And incredibly proud to just be surrounded by people, even by chance, who are interested in these topics and want to learn more.
Um, is there anything going on in Shared Capital or Johnny that you're proud or excited about? Proud of or excited about?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Um, with Shared Capital, we've been getting some funds for climate justice work for co-ops and are trying to get more of that and do more education around that. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. Um, and uh, and climate change is already impacting our communities a lot. So we need to really make sure we're ready and are there to support each other. In my opinion. And then with Ajani, hmm, we've always got some exciting projects coming down the road. We all are working within our communities deeply, and Um, yeah. Um, just like keep an eye out and we'll see. So.
Is there anything going on in your org that you are proud or excited by?
Yeah, I think right now we're really excited about all the other projects and affiliated projects that we're able to support. We recently became, I guess we have nonprofit status now, which helps us because now we can become a fiscal sponsor for other aligned groups and have more of a confederated or federated approach to sort of cooperative development. We're able to support these other projects in a way that's really awesome because I think that's something we were kind of lacking before. We were, we became autonomous from DSA, which was kind of a move that we made because of the climate in DSA at the time up in Milwaukee, and that allowed us to sort of, I guess, what's the word? Gain our own legs or whatever. So now we're able to do it without that sort of, other infrastructure that we had some difficulty navigating, so it's really great.
Is there anything going on in your org that you are proud or excited by?
So anything going on?
In Chi Commons that you're proud or excited by?
Well, I'm proud and excited about a lot of things going on in Chi Commons, but they're happening slowly. But we're developing our process. We're figuring out, sort of like both the ideal way of trying to do things and practical ways of approaching the ideal.
Awesome. Yeah, one thing that I think I should mention is that Chi Commons was unique in Chicago for trying to put in the effort of holding down peer support for cooperatives, and that was going on for a while. And I'm saddened that it didn't continue, but that's so awesome. And like Chi Commons used to be commended and recognized for putting in all that work across such a large amount of time. And a lot of times the crew was small, but Chi Commons brought in some interesting people, and I would still be participating if it was continuing. So I really like what
Cool.
Chi Commons is trying to do.
Well, thank you, Chris. Chi Commons is still involved. That we kind of maybe modulate a little bit how we're involved, but Steve Ediger was very active in organizing the Chicago pre-conference for the USFWC, and there are various other ways that we continue to contribute.